New developments in one of the biggest cold cases in modern pop culture history.
I think we turned on like about an hour before that. We was watching some news. I don't know if it was like Ethiopia or Somalia, and they was like attacking police with rocks. And
there's a new shocking twist in Tupac's case, and it's something we've never expected. For many decades, the showbiz was whispering about how the rap legend actually met his end and who was behind taking his life. You all know how the police arrested Keefe as a suspect in September last year, but turns out this man was simply an informant in this case. And while everyone still points their fingers at Diddy, suspecting him as the mastermind behind the Las Vegas shooting, after months of investigation and Keefe new shocking testimony, it's been reported that none the other rapper, Snoop Dogg, might played the main role in Tupac's exit from this world.
You know, you can hear in his voice that, I don't want to be here. Nobody wants to be there.
This sounds rather unbelievable, considering Snoop's close friendship with Pac. But actually, if you rewind to that infamous night of September 7th, 1996, and see how the whole story unravels, it's clear that we've all missed some important clues about Snoop's involvement. So, it all started with Tupac going to a boxing match of his good friend Mike Tyson, and they even agreed to hang out after. However, fate had its own plans for them both, and Mike was forced to come back home instead of partying to take care of his newborn baby, and that's the decision he deeply regrets. Iron Mike was one of the closest friends of Tupac, and years after, he revealed that Pac was definitely a problem for some folks in showbiz. He was just an uncontrolled force, and that was the problem. He was powerful, and no one could control him. Back in the days, Pac really was a force to be reckoned with. With his talent and verse, he was unbeatable in the hip-hop world on both coasts, and apparently, there was only one way to stop him. So that night, after the fight, Tupac was injured with 4 bullets, arm, thigh, and twice in the chest, and no one until today paid for that crime.
For 27 years, the family of Tupac Shakur has been waiting for justice.
The rapper was transported to the nearest hospital where the doctors kept fighting for his life. And in those days before him passing away, he was visited by multiple supporters and artists, including his good old friend, Snoop Dogg. So listen close, folks, because the story gets truly shady since this moment. Snoop Dogg arrives at the hospital, and after seeing Pac, he realizes the absolute gravity of his condition. We feeling like it's gonna be all right until we go to the hospital and see that it ain't all right. He got tubes in him. Sounds like a grieving friend. But why the police now suspects Snoop? Well, Tupac apparently wasn't the primary target of the shooter, and it was Shug Knight who got to be eliminated that night. He was in the same car with Pac and got graced by the bullets too.
Pac saved my life. The reason why I say Pac saved my life, I got shot in the head, got grazed some other places.
You don't need to be a detective to see the tension between Snoop and Suge. This trauma dragged on for years, and it reignited with even further strength once Snoop acquired Knight's old label and became its owner, while Suge was behind the bars. But how it's all connected to Pac's case and Snoop's alleged involvement? Well, Shug Knight could have actually be the key figure in the investigation, but he refused to become a snitch and share his views with the authorities. After the arrest of Keefe, he started dropping some hints about the police having the wrong man. I'm not going to get on the stand and testify. 1,000% I wouldn't go. I wouldn't testify. None of that BS at the end of the day. Free Keefe. But it seems like times are changing and Shug isn't so reluctant to work with the police. As he had stated in his podcast, the police had missed an important clue in Pac's M case, and in fact, Snoop should have been rotting in jail for whooping 27 years.
Told me do not waste $1 on that. I spent $6 million on that case to make sure he didn't get life in prison.
And here's even more that you need to know. Knight dropped claims of Snoop being the snake that knows how to get away with M, and how he personally rescued this man from a possible life sentence back in the 90s. Guys, he basically told, if it weren't for me, Snoop would still be in prison doing life. Dishing the dirt, Suge revealed spending a whopping $6 million to handle various messes related to Snoop's M case. And now it seems like that M case wasn't the only crime that Snoop had committed. Apparently, Snoop was a part of this West Coast, East Coast beef as well, but somehow managed to stay under the radar all these years. As one fan wrote on social media, Snoop always looked suspicious to me, the last interview with Pac looking very suspicious. And another user added, it's never usually anyone outside, it always seems to be the ones closest to you. But here's another version that may seem quite legit in the light of new confessions. And while there's evidence that Snoop and Pac were truly close, it's hard to say this about Shug and Snoop, who had been beefing as long as the industry can remember.
And then that's when I began to see that this wasn't for me.
Apparently, those bullets that pierced Tupac's body were actually meant to end in Shug's flesh. And even Pac himself said that to his producer before passing out after being wounded. I mean, you don't normally choose a warning as your final words, but that's exactly what Pac did. Though fatally injured, it's reported that the rapper still remained conscious for a while. Now it's clear why he went to a conclusion that all those bullets were meant to end Knight's life, but he said, "You the one they shot in the head. You shot in the head." Shug also shared about what happened after when Tupac was transported to the hospital and what role Snoop was playing in all that. At that time, Snoop and Shug weren't exactly bros, but as he said, they managed to put all beef aside for a few moments, all for the sake of their brother Tupac.
We were men enough to have that conversation behind closed doors with just me and him. No cameras, no bodyguards, no media.
After seeing his friend in a hospital bed in a sad condition, Snoop finally realized that his pal wasn't going to make it, and apparently, he kept blaming himself for Pac's demise ever since. While arriving to the hospital, the sight of the rapper fighting for his life, with all the tubes and almost no hope of making it, Snoop still recalls he completely lost it. As Snoop confessed, the sight of Pac one step away from losing his life made him lose his consciousness. When I walked in, I could just feel like he wasn't even there, and I fainted. But it's unclear if Snoop is playing the game or if actually sorry for this. But one thing we learned for sure, Pac might have fallen the victim of big industry games. There's another evidence that proves that Snoop Dogg was actually targeting Shug that night. And guess what? It's the acquisition of his old label that once belonged to Shug and promise of massive changes.
Getting the merchandise right, getting it in different, scenarios, movies, TV shows, to make it.
Fans and friends were sending him mad congrats on this purchase. And guess what? The first thing Snoop announced as the new CEO of Shug's label is a collab with none other than Bad Boy Records. There's even a clip showing Snoop's FaceTiming with Diddy, and the Bad Boy was giving him a praise for managing to soar that high. He said, "Congratulations, King. Great move, great move." To which Snoop cryptically replied, "You taught me how to play chess, not checkers." What's also suspicious is that Diddy also called him one of his greatest students and couldn't wait to sit down and hear all the new moves he had done to finally reach these heights.
Proud, I was like, my mind was like really blown, I'm saying, to put some positivity.
Now, in the light of Diddy's crimes that surface, this collab seems to be not possible anymore, but it keeps many people wondering what connections does Snoop have to the music mogul and what lessons he had learned from this serial criminal. But if there's one thing all these shady figures learned this year is to keep their mouths shut, and Snoop must be careful as well because you never know what may surface about his past life and his alleged relation to Pac's in the case.
That's the only relationship that I have like that where someone left and we wasn't.
Now, with the hatchet of legal heat looming over Snoop's neck, people start to connect the dots, and it's clear that the police have been looking for their criminal in the wrong place all these years. As one person commented, Snoop needs to be questioned for real. And another user added, "It's always the ones you don't expect to screw you over. Never trust anyone." But for some folks, time to face the music is coming because police really wants to close this case as soon as possible and to dig to the roots of this sad incident. But folks, where you stand in this story, was Snoop Dogg hiding the truth about Pac's demise all these years? And is he actually that person who took the legendary rapper from us? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and don't forget to check my other videos.